What is going on, everybody? Zac Graham, aka Kawhi DFS, coming to you for FTN Daily, ready to break down Game Week 45 on the NBA side of things over here on Sorare. If you're not familiar with Sorare yet, let me give you a brief rundown of what we're talking about here. Sorare is a sports fantasy game and marketplace featuring officially licensed digital player cards from the NBA, MLB, and global football. 300 plus clubs from the world's top leagues on that football side of things. With Sorare, you own and build teams, buying, selling, collecting, and trading officially licensed digital player cards, and compete with them in fantasy games to win rewards week over week and season over season, just like professional sports owners and general managers. Rewards for these contests include more player cards and real life rewards, such as tickets to games, autographed jerseys, NBA League Pass, gift cards, and more, bringing the physical and digital world together. Sorare is the future of fantasy sports, taking ownership to the next level, a true dynasty game in which players own their cards forever. And with that, let's get into some of my favorite buys here for Game Week 45. Again, game weeks in Sorare start on Monday, run through Thursday, and then the next game week starts on Friday, runs through that Sunday night slate. So starting here Monday morning, taking a look at what we've got. And if we're looking up top, you know, there is, of course, Joel Embiid, Nikola Jokic, a big showdown in that MVP race coming up tonight. Obviously, you're gonna have to spend a lot for those type of cards. Looking at a low ask right now of $185 for an Embiid, $192 for Nikola Jokic, Luka Doncic $210, Giannis $210. So if we're looking at this kind of elite tier, let me look at my namesake here. Let's take a look at Kawhi Leonard on the marketplace right now, because coming up this game week, Kawhi Leonard's got 2 games, or I should say the Clippers have 2 games. Kawhi with a 46-point cap hit. Obviously, Paul George remains out for this team. Norman Powell still not back. So Kawhi trying to do everything he can to hold this team above that play-in line, avoid those, one-and-done games if they can at all. In the 2 games this week for the Clippers against the Bulls and the Grizzlies. So maybe not the best matchups in the league, but certainly not scared off by either of those guys, especially the way that Leonard has been playing lately. And again, if you're looking up in this top tier, we talked about some of the price of those other all-star caliber players. Kawhi, obviously, you're taking you're getting a little bit of a discount cap-wise, only 46 this week, and a low ask of below $36. I like picking up Kawhi here on this shorthanded Clippers team. And his efficiency over the last 2-3 weeks has been really what we have expected from him over the last 7 to 8 seasons, of course, when he's healthy and can actually get out there on the floor. Let's not drop down too far here. You've still got a guy like Julius Randle, who we've played to our advantage over the last 2 game weeks, but I want to look at Brandon Ingram for a minute here. Cap hit of 40. Obviously, the Pelicans trying to battle, scratch and claw their way at least just into a play-in game, hoping that Zion Williamson can come back at some point soon. Brandon Ingram's got 3 games this week for the Pelicans. Tonight against Portland, a fantastic matchup. Golden State and Denver to close out this game week. So the ceiling of a guy like Brandon Ingram, still without Zion, with 3 bites at the apple, 3 games during this 4-day game week. I like the upside there with that 40 cap. And then we've got some news this morning. Drew Holiday was ruled out, and then Giannis Antetokounmpo shortly after him. So Chris Middleton, the price is probably going to rise pretty quick here if you're looking to pick up a Middleton. Right now, a low ask of just under $38 with a cap hit of 33 points. We know the upside that a guy like Chris Middleton has when those other 2 stars are not on the court with him. So I like picking up Chris Middleton. You can also look at some other Bucks who should get some extra time tonight. Bobby Portis with the cap hit of 25. His low ask is just over $18. And then Javon Carter should get the start at the 1 in place of Drew Holiday, a 17 cap hit and just under $10 to pick up a Javon Carter limited at this point. A couple other quick hitters. Let's take a look at Denny Avia. Kyle Kuzma, Bradley Beal have remained out for this team. Monty Morris was also out on Sunday. Only one game for the Wizards this week, but about $8 to pick up a Denny right now and just a cap hit of 20. If those absences continue for the aforementioned players, that is a sweet deal, even with just one game this week for Washington. And then let's do the Blazers thing. We kind of hinted at it last preview video. You did very well if you picked up some of those Blazers we talked about for the game week, over the game week 44 over the weekend. Let's take a look at Shaedon Sharpe here, who should be leading the way the rest of this regular season for Portland. Damian Lillard shut down. Simons, Grant, Nurkic also doubtful to return this season. So Shaedon Sharpe just still only costing you a cap hit of 19 points. You can get a Shaedon Sharpe limited under $19 as we speak. I love that play this week once again. And then let's check in on the rest of the available Blazers. Trendon Watford left last night's loss early with an injury. Drew Eubanks with just a cap hit of 16. Low ask a little bit over $10. All of these guys are going to look like values in the limited market. Nas Little came in, played a ton last night, took a ton of shots, was great for your DFS lineups, and I think he's going to be just fine if you run him out there on Sorare for this game week. Low ask also coming up for Nas Little, as it should. A cap hit of 10. Low ask just over $17. Some of the other names we don't have to go through and search them all here, but Keon Johnson, just a 6 cap. Also Jabari Walker and Kevin Knox, a 6 cap. But both of those guys will see elevated minutes. So maybe if you don't want to, spend up the $18, $20 for a Shaedon Sharpe and Nas Little, you can get guys like Jabari Walker, like Kevin Knox for much cheaper, under $5 for a Jabari Walker. Kevin Knox here, under $5. And then Ryan Arcidiacono getting the start at point guard over the last few games. He's a cap hit of 4, and again, a low ask right around $5. So those are some of my favorite buys here in the limited card market for game week 45. And then let's close it out. We'll go to the upcoming list of contests here. One note, especially for you DFSers, I have been a victim of this multiple times since I started playing Sorare. A Sorare game week usually locks about 10 minutes before a DFS main slate. So if you're looking at a 7 p.m. Eastern lock for your DFS lineups, it's going to be 10 minutes before that your Sorare contest lock. So last week, I built out our common lineup. We got a tier 2 reward for the second straight game week. Pascal Siakam was what I pulled. Loved adding him to that common collection. But again, just a disclaimer, make sure you get these contests in, set your lineups early, and then maybe edit them a little bit closer to lock once all the news rolls in, just so you're not left staring at a live tab with just one contest there. But again, we'll go to the pickup contest here and see what we can do building a team. Obviously, this is the MVP format. So you have 120 points with your salary cap there, but your highest cap hit will not count towards that 120 points. So if I roster Joel Embiid here up at the top, cap hit of 57 does not count against, you can see up here, does not count against that 120 points. We can talk about Embiid here in a little bit. For the purposes of this lineup, I'm going to build a little bit more balanced. We're going to slot in Kawhi Leonard with that 46 cap hit. So again, not really taking advantage of that MVP spot yet, but I think we can build a pretty nice lineup here regardless. Again, we can't go out and buy common cards. You have to accumulate those through rewards, through swapping, which I would encourage Sorare users to use their one swap every 24 hours to try to curate the best collection of common cards that you can. So we've got Kawhi slotted in there. We'll use Brandon Ingram again, his 3 games this game week, a cap hit of 40. And then we'll also use this Chris Middleton here with that 33 cap. He's also got 3 games, but again, I imagine Chris Middleton will miss one of these 3 games as the Bucks continue to manage his lower half, which he's had some health issues this year, and just with the lead that they have, we see Giannis resting tonight, Drew Holiday out with a personal issue. Those guys, especially Giannis, will be back. I still want to take advantage of Middleton being the only all-star caliber player left on this Bucks team for tonight's game. We can see if we click the information tab here, they're playing the Pistons. And that back-to-back actually comes later in the week, Wednesday and Thursday against the Pacers and the Celtics. So you'll get 2 games of Chris Middleton in all likelihood this week out of those 3. And tonight the ceiling is high enough where I'm fine to roster Middleton at that 33 cap hit. We need some cap relief here, though. Just an average of 23 cap points per position remaining. And let's go down. Let's find. I don't have a ton of Blazers in the common collection, but one that I do have is Jabari Walker. He's just a cap hit of 6, and that gives me 74 points to play with total. I guess with 2 positions remaining, as this kicked out the kicked my Middleton out. I did this last week as well with the SGA, so we'll put Middleton back in there. It gives us 41 points in this last spot. And if we scroll up to what I've got to offer here, Triple J obviously had some big games of late. We see multiple 50-plus Sorare scores in there. Nick Vucevic, that Siakam I just pulled today from last week's rewards. That's great, but we've used Julius Randle a couple times over the past few game weeks. And if we're looking here, a matchup against the Rockets tonight, much tougher matchup against the Heat on Wednesday, but I'm not even necessarily worried about matchup with a guy like Julius Randle. We know the minutes floor is so high for him. And if you look back on his game performance meter here, a 32 against the Heat, 2 games back, but then that's 63 right there against this same Heat team. So Rockets, great matchup. Heat, he's done it before. I think this is a pretty decent balanced build here in the common contest this week. Kawhi Leonard MVP, Brandon Ingram, Chris Middleton, Julius Randle, and then rounding it out with the Jabari Walker value. But if we did, I said we'd talk about Embiid real quick before we get out of here. If we want to roster Joel Embiid, I think we can do that. And I think we can make this a 100% stars and scrubs lineup. And let me tell you what I'm thinking here. We've got De'Aaron Fox questionable. He sat out last game after leaving the game before that early with an injury. And if he sits out again tonight, I look down in my value range and I see Davion Mitchell with just a cap hit of 11. Obviously, the floor that a guy like Davion Mitchell brings, but I mean, he can still go off. We see the 32 in relief against the Jazz, going up against the Timberwolves, and then the Blazers if De'Aaron Fox remains out, and they may be extra cautious with Fox, considering the Kings are likely a top 3 seed guaranteed here going into their first playoff appearance in about 2 decades. So I think Davion Mitchell, again, as we get closer to lock, we may get that De'Aaron Fox news. So let's say De'Aaron Fox is ruled out before this game week locks. Let me go ahead and slot Jabari Walker back in there because that is going to give us, well, look, I did it again. Knocked out the Davion Mitchell. We'll slot him back in. So then I've got 51 points to play with, and I can just make my MVP Joel Embiid because that takes his salary off my books. Now I've got 57 cap points remaining to play with. And if you think Embiid and Jokic are going to battle for the MVP tonight in that matchup and they each get big scores, a lineup with Embiid, Jokic, and Kawhi Leonard this week feels pretty strong. And if you can get good value performances out of Jabari Walker and Davion Mitchell, obviously that has a chance to get you that tier 1 reward in these common contests. So again, stay tuned to the news. If De'Aaron Fox gets ruled out, I will be running this lineup. If he doesn't, I'll go with that more balanced build we did a few minutes ago. As always, if you have questions about Sorare or your lineup builds and you want that second pair of eyes, don't hesitate to tag me on Twitter at Kawhisenberg DFS or in the FTN Daily Discord channels. You can always tag me in there with questions about Sorare. And of course, again, use the link in the description of this video. When you sign up through that link and make your first 5 purchases on the primary market, you'll get a 6th limited card for free. We'll be back on Friday previewing game week 46. But until then, good luck in game week 45. And we'll see you next time. Thanks for joining us.